Hello, Captains. This is the Doctor, and welcome to the non-23rd century playthrough of Star Trek Online in the not 23rd century. Haha. The reason why I say that is because we are actually in the 25th century. We are playing the 23rd century Starfleet, quote, faction, but as you know, up to this point, you do become part of the 25th century, even though you're still flying 23rd century ships. Well, they're actually temporal ships. It's a little confusing. I get it totally. Anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying this series. In the last video, I had upgraded to the Tier 2 Daedalus class temporal vessel. That ship, of course, was a Tier 2. I operated it all the way until I became commander. You will now see in this video I am now Commander 29, so I have gone up quite a bit in rank since the last video, and I have now been flying the Tier 3 ship. This is the Perseus class. It is a Temporal Escort. So that's what this video today is going to be about. I am now going to show you the next tier ship after the Daedalus. This is the Perseus. I, of course, have the complete temporal agent pack, so I have all of these ships. These are the 23rd century TOS ships. However, they are actually temporal ships because they have a temporal ability that a normal starship of that time period would not have. Because they're Z-Store ships, they also have a unique console associated with them. Similar to the last video I did, I'm going to do kind of a backwards review. I'm going to first show you the ship in combat, and then we'll go over all the specs, and we'll go over all the information on it, and I'll probably even do another battle at the end of this video, just to give you a thorough view of what this ship can do in combat, because I wished I had done just a little bit more combat on the last ship to show you guys. But yes, so I am Commander 29, so I'm at the last level of being a commander. When I hit 30, I will become captain, and that's when I get a Tier 4 ship. So I am right at the end of the Tier 3 ship's usefulness. I have been running this Tier 3 ship since I hit level 20, so I've been running it now for 9 levels. So I've got a pretty good amount of experience on it at this point, so I can provide to you some useful information, hopefully, about this ship if you plan to run it. Obviously, you will want to run it during your commander career period. So, the thing you want to know about this ship, first off, is that unlike the last ship, the Daedalus, that was a science vessel, this is an escort. This thing can fire cannons if you want. However, I find it still a little too slow for cannons in my taste. Some people may feel differently. You may enjoy cannons on here, but for me, I went with a beam array setup. Just so you know what we're getting into, I do have a beam array setup. The special things you want to look at as I go into combat here with this escort is number one, the temporal ability that comes with all temporal starships, which is the same as the last one. This is the molecular deconstruction beam. Remember how I used it in the last video on a ship and it like destroyed it just with one shot. It's a very powerful weapon. It's basically just extra weaponry now on the ship, but it is a very powerful weapon, and if you've got an enemy that's a very strong enemy or a very, a lot of hull strength or whatever on a big enemy, a big boss enemy, this molecular deconstruction beam does a lot of damage to them, so this really helps. As you can see, it's doing 2979.6 physical damage per second for 5 seconds, and the damage scales with the number of counters that are consumed. It also increases your hull heal, or you get a hull healed every 5 seconds, or no, 4 or 5 seconds, and the foe is a disable for 3 seconds, with the number of counters consumed. And of course it has the different configurations of having an offensive configuration, a defensive, and a support. So the offensive one gives you a turn rate buff, a flight speed buff, but your incoming hull healing is less. The defensive one gives you max shield power, and 20% incoming hull healing, but your flight speed and turn rate is reduced. And then the support one gives you more aux power and more exotic damage. I would use the support configuration, of course, during a having a science vessel with a lot of science powers. The defensive one would be very good on a cruiser who already turns slow to begin with. And then, of course, offensive works really well on an escort because it can just help it move even faster. I tend to prefer the offensive configuration. That's just my personal setup here, but I prefer using the offensive configuration pretty much on every temporal starship I've used so far. But the special feature that this ship comes with, which is the unique console, is called the Advanced Tactical Computer. This flat out gives you a plus 15% all damage for 15 seconds. It also reduces a cooldown on the Tactical Bridge Officer abilities, and it gives you a 20% firing cycle haste for all weapons, and it increases your accuracy and your defense by plus 30% for 15 seconds. This console, way more impressive than the console that was on the Daedalus. That one was just a probe that didn't do a whole lot. This one, this does a whole lot. This console is so impressive that I want this console on every future ship that I run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this console off of this ship, and hopefully I'll be able to use it on my future ships that I have on this character, because this is a console that will just really, really benefit, giving me more damage, more firing cycle haste, accuracy, defense. I mean, it's just an amazing amount of abilities there, an amazing amount of buffs for a character, especially a low-level character like me who's not doing a whole lot of damage anyway right now. Just, I love this console. Can't say enough about it. Alright, without further ado, we'll go over the specs in a little bit. Let me take this into combat for you. Let me just show you real quick. Here's the default turn speed. So when I'm talking about using, cannons on this thing or not using them, this is why I say that. It's just kind of too slow to use cannons. To come all the way about takes quite a bit, even with the turn rate buff, which does help. You can see it sped up just a little bit when I click that offensive one. Even with that turn rate buff, I think it's still a little too slow for cannons. So I went with a beam build, but I think it works real good with the beam build here. So I am in the Mandel system right now, and we're going to take out some Orion squadrons first of all.
Warning, ship is under attack.
Get a little closer.
Target's shields have failed.
Not bad, huh? And that is, of course, without even using the computer. On this next one, we'll go ahead and use the computer buff, which will increase my damage and firing cycle haste. Actually, let's take that back. Well, we can't use the okay, yeah. All right, let's use. I'm kind of changing. I wanted to use the deconstruction beam. Actually, let's move away from this enemy because he's a bigger one. He's a cruiser. Let's go to the other one, and we'll come back over here, and we'll use the deconstruction beam on him since he's a bigger enemy. Let me see if I can build up enough counters with this next one. I might not be able to build up enough counters. That's okay. We'll do more combat. Well, this next one's far away. As an escort, though, this definitely turns better and maneuvers better than the Daedalus did. But I'm still a low-level character, and I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't turn good enough, in my opinion, for cannons. Now, you may think otherwise and enjoy it with cannons. That's perfectly fine. But I felt a beam build really worked best on this ship. Considering the level I am, considering how the ship maneuvers and all that. Boy, this other one's far away, huh? Have to go all the way around the planet to find it. Is it even here? No. Guess we're going to keep going around the planet. You guys are getting just a good view of the ship in flight then. Again, these videos are definitely not scripted. I'm doing this off the cuff. Not even planned. I thought this might be a good patrol when I went into it, but maybe it's not. It's hard to find some really good patrols to demonstrate all these abilities for you. Wow. Okay, we are literally going completely around the planet. Sorry about that. I thought this would be a better patrol. I think what I'm going to end up having to do is probably just run the start of like an actual mission, maybe like skirmish. The start of that mission has a lot of combat against Cardassians and Dominion. Aren't I back to where I started here? No. Okay, we got a group. Let's see if we can build up some counters here on this one.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
The answer to that question is no. I'm 1 bar away from being able to use the deconstruction beam. You can see, as this is something I didn't cover in the last video, but as the bars fill, the damage increases on this. See how I'm up to 5,462 physical damage now. So when the bars increase, the damage on that goes up. I think I forgot to mention that in the last video. So it's not actually 2,000 physical damage. It's more like it's a lot more than that. Let's use the computer here. Unfortunately, I can't use the beam, but oh well.
Target's shields have failed.
Now I can use it. There it goes. And dead. So that deconstruction beam thing really helps with the big enemies, the tough enemies, and this computer also helps. You didn't get to see it to great effect in this patrol, sorry about that, but I will jump into skirmish and we'll do that. But before we jump into skirmish, let's take a look at our specs on this ship real quick. I am sitting at a stealth detection rating of 10.7. My power transfer rate is 250%. My bonus defense is 34.6%. I've got a 23,872 hull. Obviously a lot better than the Tier 2 Daedalus, but obviously nowhere near what a cruiser would have. This is just an escort. A hull repair rate of 55% a minute. Shield regen rate. My shield capacity is pretty low, 5,000. Of course, I'm only a level 29. I finally have some resist on my ship. I now have wait a minute, where are those resists coming from? Must have something that's giving me a resist, but I don't know what exactly. Oh, maybe it was a trait? I'm not actually sure. It's coming from somewhere. I'll have to find out. Bonus accuracy is 25%. 3.5 crit chance and my 52% crit severity. Those are slightly up, I think, from the last video. My turn rate is 22.1 degrees a second right now. If I take the buff off, though, because I had that on, it's actually 19.5 is the turn rate. I might be getting, I don't know. Let me look at my traits. Let's see. Space trait. What do I have? I got crit chance, crit severity. I've got projectile weapon training, I got beam training, accuracy, and warp theorist. No, I don't have anything coming from there. Something is giving me a resistance. Oh, wait, I know what it is. I'm so stupid. I now have skill in that, don't I? Yes. I have hull capacity, hull plating. That's what it is. Sorry, guys. Can't believe I forgot I did that. Yeah, I added hull plating, and a blade of hull plating, and energized hull plating skill. So that's giving me resistance to kinetic and all energy and all that from my hull. So that's where I'm coming from. That's where it's coming from. Because I'm an engineer and I'm going to kind of build this character to be a tank, but a tank that can still do damage. Like a damage tank. So that's where that's coming from. Okie dokie. It's all good. As you can see, I am running 2 dual beam banks up front. I've got just a regular dual phaser beam bank Mark 6, dual phaser beam bank Mark 6 with damage, a regular photon torpedo. I got those 2 twin phaser beam arrays in the back that level with me. And somebody said in the comments, and I appreciate the feedback, these only level up to level 50. And then they stop auto leveling. So I may have to still get more powerful beams in the future, but at least up to level 50 they will level with me. I have a positron deflector that improves shield healing, starship maximum hit points, and shield hit points. I have a impulse engine, of course, just basic stuff really. The warp core is a field stabilizing warp core, shield stuff on it, improves sector space travel, which is always nice. A covariant shield with regeneration. I have a EPS here. I have a maximum shield capacity console plus 10%. It's not much, but it just gives me a little more shield. I have not had any problems tanking damage in this escort. I know a lot of people sometimes in escorts have a lot of problems staying alive because you explode a lot, like glass cannons they call them. Well, I've not had this problem in this escort. I've been very tanky for an escort, which is good. And then phaser damage down here, just basic Mark 6s. Obviously I'm just commander, so Mark 6 is the highest you can have at commander. So I mean, the specs are what they are, but fact is things are getting better. It's a lot better than the tier 2 specs were. So, moving on up. Definitely moving on up on this escort. Let's exit this patrol. Let's go do just a little bit more combat, because I don't feel we've got a real good feel for this thing yet. See, I don't have a lot of missions done yet. I'm still in the Klingon War. If you're wondering where I'm at, I am at Temporal Ambassador. Need to do Temporal Ambassador, so the last mission of the Klingon War. And then I will be a captain. But let's replay just the beginning. We're not going to do the whole mission here. Let's just do
reports.
Just the beginning of skirmish. And I'll even just we'll even just transwarp there. Let's do the beginning of skirmish, because there's a big fight with the Cardassians and the True Way and the Dominion, I think. I don't know, just a whole big battle out here. So do not to. It didn't put me close enough to the planet, huh? If you're wondering about my maximum speed in space, 7.96 is where I'm at right now. In sector space. 7.9, warp 7.96. So we're pretty much a warp 8 ship at this point. This will be a good test of its ability. I'm just going to go all out here and destroy everything.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target shields have failed.
Klingons too. I forgot about the Klingons.
Target shields have failed.
Got all those back there.
Warning, ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Jeez, die already. Here we go, the Axon. Let's use that on it. Look at all that damage. See what it did? Look at that. Look at that. Absolutely amazing, huh? I mean, that thing had a pretty high hull strength. I don't know what it totally was. 44,000 is what it was. And, man, this molecular deconstruction beam, I cannot say enough about it. I mean, when this thing's fully charged and you use it and consume all those counters, this thing is just a massive help. I have found it to be a really good help on the big enemies with a high hull strength like that. And then add this computer to it, and you can even do more damage, plus 15% all damage. If you want to look at my weapon damage, we'll let everything cool down here. I'm sitting at 115 power right now on weapons. 53 shield, 26 engine, 26 ox. Obviously not extremely high levels. Of course, I'm only level 29. This dual beam bank is doing 748 DPS, 936 phaser damage. This one is doing 771 DPS, 964 phaser damage. These in the back are doing 598. So the rear ones are a whole lot less. But they only really get used if I do broadsiding. I like to forward fire as much as I can, so really I'm trying to get these two dual beam banks to do most of the work. But if I got to turn around, then I have these in the back, and that works out good. To show you what the improvement is on damage, so these are 748.9 DPS. I hit the computer thing, and now we're at 855 DPS. 1069 phaser damage, and these are up at 683 now. So you can see how that definitely improves damage, and it does improve the molecular deconstruction beam as well. If you're wondering, it does affect that. So this computer flat out increases my damage. I really love that. Again, it's called the Universal M6 computer, and it does not say that it only works on this ship. It says that it's just bound to this character, but I believe I can put this on any ship. I think so. At least I'm going to try on my future ships. I'm going to try to put this on there and see if it works, because I really like that console. Let's read a little bit about this ship if you're wondering about it. We'll go to Ships Tier 3, and here it is in the Z store. That's what it looks like. Temporal Escort, Perseus class. A versatile escort from the 23rd century, the Perseus class Temporal Escort incorporated several state-of-the-art systems for the time, including the M6 computer. Designed to provide rapid tactical analysis of the battlefield, the M6 had none of the troublesome drawbacks of its infamous predecessor. Temporal starships are capable of making subtle alterations on the molecular level through the use of the molecular reconstruction. This technology allows a starship to assume one of three different configurations: defensive, offensive, and support. Each configuration has their own strengths and weaknesses. Each of the configurations generates their own counters. Of course, we know all about that from the last video. Same thing on this ship. Defensive configuration and offensive and support, we already went over all that. And then the molecular deconstruction beam itself, we've gone over that a lot. The Temporal Escort comes equipped with the M6 computer universal console. The M6 computer was designed to provide rapid tactical analysis, yes. When the M6 computer is activated, it will provide a substantial boost to weapon damage, accuracy, defense, weapon cycle haste, and tactical bridge officer ability recharge rate. This console may be equipped on any starship, and it may be equipped in any console slot. So yeah, I'm going to use this console on all my ships on this character in the future. Now, when I do the review on the ships, I'll pull it off just so that you see what the ship natively can do. But for my playthrough of playing this game on this character, I'm definitely going to use this console on every ship. I think it's extremely beneficial. I would almost buy this Perseus class ship just to have this console on all my characters. No kidding. I really would. Plus 15 power to weapons on this ship, can equip dual cannons. So yes, you can use cannons on this ship. Again, I don't personally think it's fast enough to use them. Maybe you do, but you can. You have the option. You can try it. console, universal M6 computer, and the molecular reconstruction. So, the big questions that you're going to ask, is it worth spending the money to fly this ship as a commander on the 23rd century faction, or any faction really, because I guess you can fly this ship on the regular Federation faction as well, 25th century faction. I would say yes, solely for that computer, because you could use that console, that M6 computer console, and put it on every ship you fly on this character. This is one of those ships, and this is very rare, but this is one of those ships I would buy just for the console, just to have the console. There are some other ships out there like that. For example, the one on the KDF side that has a plasmonic leech. Definitely you would want to buy that ship for the console. So this ship is kind of like that. It's a ship you would want to buy for the console so that you could use it on other ships on your character. The molecular deconstruction being part of the ship is also very powerful. The ship's only gonna be useful, of course, during the commander playthrough. I mean, from level 20 to 29, because once you hit 30, you're gonna go want to put on your captain ship. So it's gonna have a limited use. This is what I said in the last video as well with the Daedalus class. It's gonna have a limited use as far as the ship goes, because it's only gonna last for those 10 levels that you're using it, and then you're gonna want to go use the next ship. So it's not something you need to spend money on by any means, but if you were going to, I would do it for that console. I really would. And I said the opposite on the Tier 2 Daedalus class. I would not buy the Tier 2 Daedalus for its console. It has that probe console. I thought it was kind of useless. But this M6 computer I find very useful. So I do recommend the Temporal Escort Perseus class. Obviously, its usefulness as a ship is going to end at level 30, because then you're going to go put on the captain ship. But the console you can carry through all your ships. That's kind of my summary of what I think about this ship. Let's go to the Sol system, and we'll look at configurations you might be able to make to the ship. I think, like the Tier 2 Daedalus, it's pretty limited. You're not going to be able to do much to it in terms of visual aspects. You could, of course, put a shield on it. That would definitely change its image under visuals here. If you put a shield that had, a different visual on it, that would definitely change the look of it. Otherwise, I think we are going to be pretty limited in terms of configuration here, but let's just take a look. Oh, I did a barrel roll. So here it is. You can either make it look like the Perseus, which is the default configuration, or the Theseus, which is the 26th century version of it, if you own that ship. If you don't own it, then obviously it's not going to look like that. But this is the TOS look of it, which I quite enjoy. You have the Pioneer interior, so it does not have a unique bridge. It just uses the Pioneer bridge, which actually looks just like the Constitution bridge. You cannot change the window type. You can change the texture on it, thankfully. You've got a Type 0 texture, which is the default. Type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, that's kind of cool. This Type 8 texture, look, it makes the deflector pink. But I kind of like the looks of these chamber things here in the nacelles. I like that anyway. That's a really unique look right there. Kind of funky. But you could put that on there. So if you have that. An upgrade, if you've ever upgraded a starship to Tier 5U, you'll have upgrade skin. If you're a veteran, you'll have the veteran skin as well. Veteran doesn't look too bad either on it. I also like the the Type 7. The Type 7 also looks good. You can change the color scheme on it. Again, either Perseus or Theseus if you've purchased that. And the pattern, block 1, I think, is the default. I don't know why. Maybe I took that off. Block 1, I believe, is the default. No pattern is the default. Okay, but there is a block 1 pattern you can put on it. Not that fancy, really, but it's an option anyway. You can do that to it. I don't know, that's kind of ugly. Otherwise, just the regular patterns. I like no pattern on it. I think that looks real good. It's got that toss feel to it. And that's what I wanted, was that toss feel. So really, yeah, you can't do much to it. What else to go over? I think that's like it. I don't know what else to go over. I have showed it in combat. You saw the deconstruction beam, as usual, is very powerful. You saw that the M6 computer is very powerful. I really like, I mean, I cannot stress enough how much I love this M6 computer, and I do wonder if this damage plus 15% will increase as my level increases. I don't know. I want to find out, but I am going to use it on future tiered ships, so I will find out if it goes up or not. And it probably doesn't, but you know, I'll find out. So this has been a very fun commander ship, the Crescent Rose here, Temporal Escort, Perseus class. It has definitely been an enjoyable commander ship. I've had a good time with it. It got me through all the missions that I played. I never really blew up once in it. I played all of the Klingon War missions. I'm almost done there, so I've played all those missions, and you know, it's been a really good ship for this career. Now it's going to be time to move on to the Tier 4 ship. The Tier 4 ship, so I'll be a captain. I believe this is the one I've been looking forward to. No, it's not. I think it's the next one I'm looking forward to, which is the Ranger. This one is the 4 nacelle one. This one is the Gemini class. So that's going to be my next ship, and I believe that's going to be a cruiser. Yeah, it is a cruiser, temporal cruiser. So I see what they've done here. Your Tier 1 ship is a science vessel. Your Tier 2 ship is an escort, and your Tier 3 ship is a cruiser. So that way you get to experience all 3 types of ship as you level up your 23rd century character. Now what's the Tier 5 ship? That's going to be the Ranger class, I bet. I wonder if it's a cruiser or not. I'm going to guess that it's a cruiser. Let's find out. I'm just curious. Wherever it is. Where the crap is it? There it is, Ranger. No, it's a battle cruiser. So is that different? Do I have a hangar bay? It does not have a hangar bay, but they call it a battle cruiser. So interesting. So you got science ship, an escort, a cruiser, and then the battle cruiser. Huh. Well, I cannot wait to get to that. But next will be the cruiser, Gemini. But anyway, this one was the, here we go, Temporal Escort. This one was the Perseus class. So that's kind of my review on this ship, guys. I enjoyed the ship. I had a lot of fun with it. It did what I needed it to do. I had no major problems or issues with it at all. I enjoyed flying it. The construction beam is cool. The M6 computer is cool. It is a cool ship. But, you know, I'm ready to move on to the next one now. I don't know. There's not really much else to say because you really are limited with these ships because you only run them for like 10 grades and then you upgrade to the next one. So I'll talk about at the very end, after I upgrade to the last one, I'll talk about if I think it was of value or not actually buying these ships. Because remember, you don't have to fly these ships on your 23rd century character. I did the wrong thing there. You can actually fly the ships it gives you. For example, you can go to Commander here and see all the ships you can fly. You could fly this ship, for example, and you get a token at Commander to get a free ship. So I could have been flying the Cheyenne here. I could have been flying that. See, I can purchase the ship actually because I haven't used my token yet. I've just been using the Z-Store ship. So I could have got this heavy cruiser, or I could have got the heavy escort. I could have been flying the Akira if I wanted an escort. Or I could have been flying the Olympic, which is like the Daedalus. Or I could be flying other Z-Store ships like the Advanced Heavy Cruiser, or the Nebula, or the Thunderchild, or all these other refits here they have. But I'm flying the Temporal Escort. So you see, it's just an option among other options. There's so many other options here you could have flown as well on this character. So it's not the only ship you could possibly fly. It's just the ship I've chosen to go because I'm going the TOS ship route. But I had to pay extra for it because it's a Z-Store ship, naturally. So I'll talk about if I think that was valuable or not, because I didn't have to spend money. I could have just flown, you know, the Akira, and I would have had a great time with the Akira, or a heavy cruiser, or whatever, for free. Anyway, well guys, that's the Tier 3 ship. I hope you all enjoyed that Perseus class. If you've never seen it before, now you've learned something new, and isn't that awesome? Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. I will do the next one when I hit level 39. So right before I hit level 40, when I hit 39, I will be coming at you with the Tier 4 starship. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Oh, there's my Horda. Yay, Horda. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.